especially being in a cell with like concrete floors and walls. And it had open windows with bars, which are great, which looked out onto these quadrangle of a housing estate with flats. So it was almost like an acoustic amphitheatre, which was projecting Harinam out to all these people on the streets and in the housing schemes. And of course, the chief of police, who was in his office upstairs, he heard it and he said, "What idiot brought them in here?" He says, "Get them out of here." So they came in, and every time they opened the cell door, then the kirtan, which was really tumultuous, it just stopped like that, and you could have heard a pin drop, and we all just looked like angels. And they started taking us out 2 by 2. And as soon as the door shut again, then it started. It was like a trigger. As soon as the door opened, we must have all just been so highly attentive, as soon as the door opened, it stopped. And then they told us all out. Eventually they got us all out and told us to disperse. But as they were sending us out 2 by 2, we weren't dispersing, we were just meeting again. So we decided to quit while we were ahead. But that was also another example of someone who was an authority and who basically wasn't going to make a fuss over it. It happened also on another occasion where we ended up down in Glasgow Cross, the courts. We'd been arrested for Harinam the day before, and they allowed us to go back home if we would appear in court the next morning, so we did. And we were waiting outside, and the lawyer came out and said, the judge just threw it out. I said, "What happened?" He also says, "What you doing bringing these Hare Krishnas to my courtroom? I've got better things to do with my time." So Lord Chaitanya personally came and showed us not to be afraid. Go and chant Hare Krishna, give it to the people. This is my mission, to give it to all the fallen souls in every town and village. And if we have some difficulty, we pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. So, and Srila Prabhupada said that this movement cannot be stopped from without, only from within. So we should pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva that we are protected from all influences out with and within, so that we can continue with this wonderful Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're here in Scotland with Srila Prabhupada's movement, Lord Chaitanya's mission, and we can pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. There's a very wonderful form. All forms of Lord Nrsimhadeva are wonderful, but this particular Saligram Sila of Lord Nrsimhadeva, whom Gandaki worships. We were always thinking that Sri Tulsinath is such a bara, and this one is Mahabara or Maha-Abishek. So in a few minutes we're going to do Abhishek. So, but not just today, we can pray every day that the Lord protects the Sankirtan movement from all sorts of influences and all sorts of dangers, so that it can continue. And the Lord is very enthusiastic to protect the devotees. He's very enthusiastic to protect this Sankirtan movement. And this protection in ISKCON came along, first of all, when Srila Prabhupada was sick in America. I think it was a heart attack he had, was it, or a stroke? And he asked the devotees to pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. That's when he taught them the Nrsimha Pranams. So I would like to ask Balaram Prabhu, who's just come up from the Lake District with his mum, for the day, to be here for this festival. I'd like to ask him to sing the Nrsimha Pranams while we do this Abhishek. So if you like, you can start with some normal kirtan, Hare Krishna, or whatever. We'll just have to chant a few mantras while we're setting up for the Abhishek. And then we also have a Adhoksha Prabhu who's going to give a talk on Lord Nrsimhadeva's appearance. And as I say, we have a longer festival on Sunday, which will be more varied and more busy. So we'll be having the Abhishek accompanied by Nrsimha Pranams, and then a talk, and then some kirtan, and then go to Arti, and then Prasadam feast. So, Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki. Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, it's Guru ki, Shri Shri Korntama Pishashi ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. You want to sit over here with the mic?
Good to see you. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itina Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vasatya Deshata Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashatyadishadharine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namaste Nrsimhadeva Namaste Nrsimhadeva Namaste Nrsimhadeva Hiranyakashipur Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha Sila Tankanakalaye Sila Tankanakalaye Sila Tankanakalaye Ito Nrsimhadeva Nrsimhadeva Ito Nrsimhadeva Nrsimhadeva Ito Nrsimhadeva Nrsimhadeva Yato yato yami tato Nrsimhadeva Yato yato yami tato Nrsimhadeva Bahir Nrsimhadeva Nrsimhadeva Bahir Nrsimhadeva Nrsimhadeva Bahir Nrsimhadeva 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 Sharanam Prabhade Nrsimhadeva Sharanam Prabhade Nrsimhadeva Sharanam Prabhade Nrsimhadeva Sharanam Prabhade Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shimma Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanobinda Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Avakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shimma Lalita Hiranyakashipu Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shimha Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanobinda Keshavadreta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shimma Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanobinda Keshavadreta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Tavakara Kamala Vadenaka Adbhuta Shambha Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tano Brahma Keshavadeta Narahari Roba Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadreta Narahare Roba Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Keshavadrita Narahare Roba Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahare Roba Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Gaur Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Gaur Haribo Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagwan Ki Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Shri Nrsimhadeva Chaturdasi Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Nrsimhadeva Jaya Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan Ki Shri Nrsimhadeva Chaturdasi Ki Shri Nrsimhadeva Maha-Mahotsava Ki Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Thank you. Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan Ki. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have a prayer going to come up on the screen very soon. Nice to see everybody. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a verse, it's a prayer actually by Prahlad Maharaj. And there's a few interesting points. So I'll go through those hopefully. Sorry, Canto 5. So you may know this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimhadeva Namas Tejas Tejase Avir Vibhava Rajanaka Rajadamshtra Kamasayan Randya Randya Tamograsa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Abhani Bhushta Om Shram. Anyone know that verse? At one time, there was a bit of we went through a phase in ISKCON where everybody was into Lord Nrsimhadeva. Everybody was learning this mantra. So the translation, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nrsimhadeva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth, just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki. In Srimad Bhagavatam 4.22.39, Sanat Kumar speaks the following words to Maharaj Prithu. Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhakcha kama shayam grahitam udgratayanti santa tadvan narikta matayo yatayo piruda Soto ganas tam aranam bhaja vasudevam. Anyone know that one? Devotees always engaged in the service of the toes of the Lord's lotus feet can very easily become free from hard knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, cannot stop the waves of sense gratification, although they try to do so. Therefore, you're advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. So that was Sanat Kumar advising Maharaj Prithu. Every living being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to his fullest satisfaction. For this purpose, the conditioned soul must accept one body after another, and thus his strongly fixed fruitive desires continue. One cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami describes pure bhakti devotional service as follows: Anya bilasita sanyam jnana kamaja ananvitam anukulyena krishna no shilanam bhakti uttama. One should render transcendental, loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, we should always offer our prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva, who killed Hiranyakashipu, the personification of material desire. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means a soft cushion or bed. Materialistic persons always desire to make the body comfortable, and for this they require huge amounts of gold. Thus, Hiranyakashipu was the perfect representative of materialistic life. He was therefore the cause of great disturbance to the topmost devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, until Lord Nrsimhadeva killed him. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Nrsimhadeva, as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. So anyone desiring, anyone aspiring to be free of material desires. So that's certainly me. So a few nice points. Lord Nrsimhadeva is referred to as Teja Se. Teja Se. Tejas is strength, and then Teja Se is the strength of strength. So the original source of all strength is Lord Nrsimhadeva. All power, O my Lord, possessing nails and teeth like thunderbolts, kindly vanquished. So what's interesting here is Lord Nrsimhadeva his nails and his teeth are described as hard as thunderbolts. But Prahlad Maharaj is not asking Lord Nrsimhadeva to destroy his enemies. He's asking him to destroy his demon-like desires for fruitive activity in this material world. So if you have those desires in your heart, then there will be enemies because other people are trying to do the same thing. So there's competition. If you're not, then these other people may see you as an enemy, but you don't see them as an enemy. That's only if you get the mercy of Lord Nrsimhadeva, that you don't see them as enemy. You see the real enemy. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was advising his disciples, whenever faults of others misguide and delude you, introspect and see the faults in yourself. Nobody can harm you unless you harm yourself. So if you don't have this demon-like desire for fruitive activity, then you're protected. But even if Lord Nrsimhadeva kills all your so-called enemies, if you have these desires in the heart, then you're still living with your greatest enemy, which is your mind. Him who's conquered the mind, it's the best of friends. If you fail to do so, it is your greatest enemy. And there was Arjuna on the battlefield. There were some formidable foes. And Krishna saying, your greatest enemy is your mind. Not Bhishmadev, not Karna, not Ashvatthama, but your mind. So if Lord Nrsimhadeva appears in our heart, then he can destroy the demon-like desires that are there in the mind. Please appear in our hearts. So what's interesting about this is, Lord Nrsimhadeva has appeared out of a column. So that should be enough for most people, right? Lord Nrsimhadeva is there. He's just burst out of the column. Everything's fine. Where's the feast? But Prahlad's not satisfied with that. It's very nice that you've appeared. Very nice that you've shown your kindness and your compassion. What a wonderful display of your love for me to come in this form and protect me. I'm very honored. I'm very privileged. But please, dear Lord, could you appear in my heart? So that's what we want. And we can pray for that today, that Lord Nrsimhadeva appear in our heart. Appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance so that we may become fearless. So if you want to find out how much ignorance you have, just look at how much fear you have. That's your fear-ometer. Well, actually, it's your ignorance-ometer. So if you wonder, how much ignorance am I? Well, I think I know a few things. I know a few slokas, and I kind of know Krishna's God. And so if you want to test your level of knowledge, then you see how fearful you are. And he doesn't ask to become free from the struggle for existence in the material world also. He asks to become fearless in the struggle. Just like Queen Kunti doesn't ask for the calamities to be taken away. She just asks that Krishna always be there to protect her. So a similar prayer by Prahlad. The struggles may be there, they may not be there. Okay, you've just killed my father. That's very kind of you, thank you. But there'll be other struggles. There's always some struggle or another. We're struggling with our own minds in Kali Yuga. Our enemies used to live in different countries or planets, or at least next door, but now they're right there in the same mind. So we need Lord Nrsimhadeva's mercy and help more than ever, actually. And then we can become fearless in the struggle. So the struggle will always be there. Prahlad's not asking to remove the struggle, just to remove the ignorance that is causing the fear. And if you're in a room and you're walking around in a room and it's densely dark and you're banging over things and there's sharp objects and you're cutting your knee and bashing your head off low branches in a forest, and it's all very painful and dangerous, and then suddenly somebody just switches a massive floodlight on and you can see exactly what's going on and how to navigate. And then it's not a problem anymore. You don't mind being in the forest because you're illuminated with knowledge. And Machita Sava Durgani, all the problems, Sava, all Durgani, all the problems, Durga is problem, formidable problem. All those problems, Machita, if you become chit, if you become conscious of me, then all the obstacles will disappear. Just like in the room, there'll be no problems once the room is illuminated. We'll be able to navigate very nicely, avoid the problems, and come out the other side. So Srila Prabhupada starts by referring to the prayer by Sanat Kumar, that the devotees who are engaged in the toes of the Lord's lotus feet. So the lotus feet of the Lord is very significant. Actually, a devotee approaches the lotus feet of the Lord. And the first thing you approach when you approach the Lord's lotus feet are his toes. They're the first things you see. And it's described that the toes are like a necklace. When you see the toes, because the nails are so beautiful and effulgent, so perfectly formed, then when you see those toenails, it looks like a necklace, a beautiful necklace, with two big pearls in the middle, which are the Lord's big toes. And it said that those lotus feet are like thunderbolts that destroy the burden of sin that is in the heart. Every time you remember the Lord's lotus feet. When I first heard that, before I became a devotee, being an artist, I was wondering, what angle are you supposed to meditate on the Lord's lotus feet? Is it underneath the feet? Is it at the side of the feet? Is it straight out? You know, these kind of massive problems you have when you... So that was just a simple thing, but that one got clarified very, very quickly once I joined. But here it's also being clarified as well, the toes. approach the toes, and then you can approach the rest of the feet. And the particles underneath the lotus feet, the saffron particles, they carry the transcendental vibration of the Lord. So when you're hearing the Maha Mantra and you're becoming enlivened, that's the saffron particles coming through your ears from underneath the Lord's lotus feet. So the next time you're chanting your japa and you're feeling like that, you know why. And one can easily become free from hard-knotted desires for fruitive activities. So Nomi, for the Jnani and the Kami, it's very, very difficult to get free from the material energy. And the more you wriggle, the more you get bound up by the material energy, the more you become implicated in her complexities. But for the devotee, it's very easy. The Lord comes, just like the cat comes for the kitten. So the Lord comes for the devotee at the time of death. And the devotee, if you actually look, I have a deity of Lord Nrsimhadeva. You saw the deity today. Hiranyakashipu is just like, he's just, let whatever you need to do, Lord, just do it, So it's described, there's a little article about Ahovala Nrsimha, and in there it was saying that when Hiranyakashipu touched the lap of Lord Nrsimhadeva, he remembered who he was in the spiritual world, and he just relaxed, and he didn't feel any pain. He felt only extreme bliss as the Lord performed his pastime. So the devotee is, you could say that. The devotee is very reassured, like the kitten in the cat's mouth. I mean, if you look at a little kitten, it's not, it's quite relaxed, it gets pulled up by the neck and it's like, oh, it's okay, it's just mum. This is what she does, to get me from A to B. Whereas the mouse, sometimes the mouse doesn't even get killed by the cat. The mouse dies of a heart attack before the cat can kill it because it's so scared. So it's, oh, I'm in big trouble now. And then, so for the devotee, he's as soon as he's touched by the Lord, he remembers his constitutional position that he's the eternal servant of the Lord, and there's no fear. He's not competing with the Lord to try and be the enjoyer or the controller. He's just the Lord's servant. In fact, there's a nice book, Nam Rahasya by Satchidananda Swami, and he says it's a very powerful mantra just to say over and over again, I am a servant, I am a servant, I am a servant. He said this can free us from the influence of the false ego. And actually, I was also reading this morning when I was chanting japa, the 3 golden rules when you're chanting your japa. The first golden rule when you chant your japa is that you have to be completely attentive. The second one is that you have to chant meditating on the meaning of the mantra. And the third one is that you have to chant with heart-rending lamentation. So they're the 3 golden rules if you want to chant nicely. So, so with the devotee, the meaning of the mantra is, I am your servant. I am your servant. That's the meaning. That's how we're chanting the mantra. That's the meaning behind the mantra. Not that we're just, and there's no meditation on the meaning of the mantra. The only meditation is how long have I got to go before this is finished, 16 rounds. Okay, that's the bead bag finished with for the day. Let's go and do something a bit more interesting. So that's the meaning of the mantra. I am your servant. I am your servant. Just give me some service. That's all I want. Just give me some service. Nothing else. I don't want anything else. Just service. Every human being within this material world has a strong desire to enjoy matter to its fullest satisfaction. So you may think, well, I just sit on the fence, I just take a bit of sense gratification when I want, and I don't when I don't want, and I'm like a heavenly enjoyer. But those desires are they have a clause after them. Whenever you agree to something that involves Maya, then the bottom line is that you're signing up to enjoy matter to your fullest satisfaction. So Srila Prabhupada's painting it very black and white to show there's no gray areas. You're going toward Krishna or you're going towards Maya. And in one sense, it's not so important where you are in Krishna consciousness as to where you want to go in Krishna consciousness. The direction you're going in is more important. There may be somebody more advanced than you, and you're coming up towards Krishna, and he's going in the opposite direction. He's saying Krishna's that way, and he's going the other way. So that can happen. That the faith, the pure faith that we start off in Krishna consciousness can become mixed, and then we relax our vows, and we relax our urgency to take shelter, and then those desires creep in. They fatten like bed bugs in spring. Those material desires, they have to be purged completely from the heart, which will take a lifetime for most of us, unfortunately, certainly for me. So one cannot stop the repetition of birth and death without being completely desireless. Of course, I was just listening to Srila Prabhupada this morning, actually, and he was saying, in one sense, it's not possible to be desireless. And he says it's also not possible to stop talking. So desire Krishna and talk about Krishna, glorify Krishna. And then he quotes the famous verse, Anyabhilasita Sanyam, by Rupa Goswami, render service with a loving attitude. And I was just reading, actually, there's a nice book by Vilas, Shubha Vilas, is it? The little blue book of Krishna, yeah. And there's a story there of Devaka, the wife of Vidura, and she's so excited that Krishna's coming. She's offering Krishna a banana peel. And when Vidura comes home, he's like, what are you doing, you know? Krishna's been eating, there's all the bananas, the banana fruit in a stack, and Krishna's just finishing off another banana peel, you know? And Devaka is so fired up. So Krishna's just accepting the banana. And he's just come from Duryodhana's place. And Duryodhana was saying, we've got amazing. He says, I'm not hungry, sorry. I'm not hungry for your food. I'm going to go for a few banana peels over at Vidura's house. So the actual item itself is not as important as the mood and the intention behind, you know. Are you being antagonistic toward Krishna? Are you in one way or another being antagonistic toward his devotees? And if you are, then it will be very difficult to access the mercy of the holy name, because it's the first offense to the nam aparad. If it's Vaishnav aparad, then you can guarantee it's nam aparad, because you cannot offend the Lord's devotee without offending the holy name. They go hand in hand. So you may be thinking, I'm chanting really nicely, I'm really attentive. Holy name's like, sorry, you've offended my devotee, I'm not interested. So favorably, without desire for profit or fruit of activities, and that is pure devotional service. So the intention is more important than the banana or whatever else you're doing. Unless one is completely freed of all material desires which are caused by the dense darkness of ignorance, one cannot fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So the dense darkness of ignorance is described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur that when the sun starts to rise, although you can't see the sun, the sky starts to go light, and then you know the sun is going to rise very soon. So the sun is Shuddhanam in Kali Yuga. Our sun is Shuddhanam, is the pure holy name. But before the holy name rises, Shuddhanam, then there's Namabhas. But if it's Namaparad, then it stays dark. You stay in the darkness. The only thing you get with Namaparad is you get your material desires fulfilled. And Namaparad and Namabhas is very, very close, actually. Somebody could be chanting, Hare Krishna, and somebody else is chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And just that urgency differentiates Namaparad, can't be bothered chanting, from Namabhas, can be bothered chanting. So we should be bothered about our chanting, and we should be bothered that our chanting is not as good as we feel it should be. So we should always pray and offer prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva, who killed Hiranyakashipu. So Lord Nrsimhadeva will kill the Hiranyakashipu in our hearts, the desire for the gold and the soft bed. And it's interesting, Srila Prabhupada says, actually, to make the body comfortable, you require huge amounts of gold. So That's the, in fact, they did an interview actually. They did a special interview and they wanted to find out if people with huge amounts of gold were okay with everything. So they went to Hollywood, and the average house was $100 million. And so they knocked on the door and they said, are you okay with everything, you know? Everything fine in your life? And he said, everything is great. I've got a great house. Everything's good. But see that guy up the road there? He's got a house worth 200 million. Now, if I had that house, then I would be happy. So they went over to see the guy up the road with the big house. And they said, are you good with everything? Everything's good for you? Are you happy? He says, yeah, it's a great house. Twice the size of his down the road. Now, if I had the house up the road there, that guy, he's got a house worth 400 million. Then I would be happy. So you require huge amounts of gold. And even when you get the huge amounts of gold, the way the material energy is designed, even then you can't be happy. You can't be satisfied. So you could save yourself a lot of gold, and a lot of time, and a lot of hassle by realizing that if I can't be happy with a little bit of material sense gratification, then I'm not going to be happy if I get a lot, you know. That's how they advertise. I was doing advertising at one time before I became a devotee. And the way they advertise is they try to get you to want something that you don't need. So they tell you the car is bigger, the phone is thinner, the bottle of fizzy lemonade is bigger. Get this, it's a 10-pack. Get more, buy more. The more you buy, the more you save. Actually, that's not quite a fact, is it? The more you buy, the more you spend. The less you buy, the more you save. Any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires. So I guess that would mean every devotee, wouldn't it? Any devotee that is aspiring to be free of material desires would mean every devotee that is aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Lord Nrsimhadeva, as Prahlad Maharaj did. So that's interesting as well, as Srila Prabhupada caps everything right toward the end by saying, don't try to imitate Lord Nrsimhadeva. He's in a ferocious mood, but he doesn't want you going around being in a ferocious mood. He's the one who will do the killing and the terrorizing and the whatever else is needed. Like Lord Chaitanya, when they went to the Chankasi, Lord Chaitanya told them to just cool off. And he had a nice conversation with the Chankasi. It's like Lord Nrsimhadeva's already done it. He's left scars on his chest. He's frightened the life out of him. Okay, we don't need to get involved with this. It's between him and Lord Nrsimhadeva. You know, you just chill out, you know. We're just here for Harinam. We just have to imitate Prahlad Maharaj. We have to be like Prahlad Maharaj. Lord Nrsimhadeva has to be like Lord Nrsimhadeva. We don't have to be like Lord Nrsimhadeva. So some of the devotees with Lord Chaitanya were getting a little bit excited. And they were pulling the plants out around the Chankasi was really scared. That's why he wouldn't come out of his room. And there was so many of them. Because they were in numbers, they were thinking, okay. Generally, cowards are only brave when they're in numbers. If you get a coward on his own, he's not very, very brave, you know. But anyway, that's a general psychology. So, but Lord Chaitanya's move was, it's okay. We can just be like Prahlad Maharaj. If you're like Prahlad Maharaj, then you get Lord Nrsimhadeva's protection. If you want to be like Lord Nrsimhadeva, then Lord Nrsimhadeva will think, well, you don't need me. You're ferocious enough. Okay, I'll let you take care of it then, you know. So Srila Prabhupada is advising that we follow Prahlad Maharaj. And that's why it's never recommended that you concoct your own prayers in Krishna consciousness. But you find a devotee that you can emulate, one that you feel very attracted to and appreciate very much, you have deep gratitude for, and you find out what his prayers are, and then you recite those prayers, rather than make your own prayers. So this is a beautiful prayer. Namaste Tejasi, Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimhaya, by Prahlad Maharaj. And of course, if Prahlad Maharaj hears you using his prayer, then you don't just get the mercy of Lord Nrsimhadeva, you also get the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj, which is good, a good thing to have. And because Prahlad Maharaj is such a Maha-Bhagavat, he's aware when people are using his prayers. Just like Srila Prabhupada said, one time the devotee was asking, Prabhupada, do you think of your disciples when you're traveling, when you're away from them? And Prabhupada said, whenever you're thinking of me, that's when I'm thinking of you. So, and like with our spiritual master as well, we can feel very close if we're thinking all the time of. In fact, what's interesting actually about thinking of the spiritual master is, I mean, you may have a nice picture of your spiritual master, and you look at that and you go away and you mesmerize the picture, and that's nice. That's a good thing. You're thinking of your spiritual master. But really, if you're thinking of your spiritual master properly, then you're following his instructions. If you're disobeying his instructions, Srila Prabhupada describes actually that to the extent you're disobeying the spiritual master's instructions, to that extent, all your activities are material. Which is an interesting way of analyzing things. So you could think, okay, am I performing activities which my spiritual master is favorable to? Have I checked with my spiritual master that he's okay with what I'm doing? Has my spiritual master told me to do something else and I'm ignoring him? If you are, then you're on very, very, very thin ice. Very thin ice. And it's described that these are waves. It says the waves of, Srila Prabhupada refers to in the purport that they're the waves of sense enjoyment. So we're in the ocean and we could be on very thin ice. And if you're on thin ice and you fall through, then you'll be swept away by the ocean's waves. Nrsimhadeva, Vinanshasi. He says, if you're not conscious of me, which is also conscious of the spiritual master's instruction, same thing, then you will be lost. Nrsimhadeva, not hearing, Vinanshasi, finished, lost, bye. And then if you want to reconnect, then good luck until you want to follow the instructions of your spiritual master. Jai, Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. So we'll have Aarti now. And then for those that are interested, they'll probably, I'm not 100%, but there'll probably be a feast. But I can't guarantee that.
Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Shri Kodi Taima Pashashaki, Shri Tosinath Maharaj ki, Shri Giridhari Lal ki, Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki. Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Aruti Koshoba. Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Aruti Koshoba. Jana Vitatavani Jagamaloba. Janavitatavani Jagamangaloba Dakinenitai Vamigadadhara Dakinenitai Chan Vamigadadhara Nikateya Dveta Shrini Tasa Chachadara Nikateya Dveta Shrini Tasa Chachadara Rase Achigurachan Ratna Simasane Rase Achigurachan Ratna Simasane Aruti Kurena Brahma Adideva Gani Aruti Aruti Kurena Brahma Adideva Gani Narahari Adikori Chamaradulaya Narahari Adikori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Koshadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Koshadigaya Shankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Shankha Bhaje Kanta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala
Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Madhura Mridanga Bhaje Paramarasala Shankha Bhaje, Gandha Bhaje, Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje. 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 Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje. Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje. Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Bhaje. Bahu Koti Chanda Jini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chanda Jini Vadana Ujvala Kala Deshe Dhanamala Kore Jalamala Kala Deshe Dhanamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Sukha Nara Premi Gada Gada Shiva Sukhanara Demigada Gada Prakati Vinoda Dekhe Korara Sampada Bhakti Vinodadeke Gurara Sampada Viva Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Aruti Kashobha Jana Vikatavani Jagamana Loba Jana Vikatavani Jagamana Loba Gorangera Roti Choba Jagadanamana Loba Gorangera Roti Choba Jagadanamana Loba Gorangera Roti Choba Jaga Janamana Loba Gorangera Roti Choba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Jaga Janamana Loba Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hey, hey, hey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi. Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi Jaya Kodanita Jaya Mayapur Shashi. Jaya Shri Tulsina, Jaya Shri Tulsina. Jaya Giridhari Lal, Jaya Giridhari Lal. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Charista Tara Sri Shmadis Divine Grace Savoy Charanara Vindamukti Tanta Swaman Sri Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Founder Charity BBT Founder Chair Sri Prabhupada ki, Shri Guru Parampara ki, Ananta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Nama Acharya Saridas Thakur ki, Shri Sad Goswami Prabhu ki, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana ki, Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Navdeep Mayapur ki jai, Shri Nila Chau Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Shri Krishnabavan Dham ki jai, Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Bhaktavatsala Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki jai, Shri Shri Kodnitai Mahaprishashi ki, Shri Tulsinath Maharaj ki, Shri Giridhari Lala ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande, ISKCON Guru ki, all glories to Sama devotees, all glories to Sama devotees, all glories to Sama devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Namaste Nrsimhaya. Hlad hlad daine. Hlad hlad daine. Hiranyakasipurvakshaha. Hiranyakasipurvakshaha. Sila tanka nakhalaye. Sila tanka nakhalaye. Ito Nrsimha parato Nrsimho. Ito Nrsimha parato Nrsimho. Yato yato yami tato Nrsimha. Yato yato yami tato Nrsimha. Bahe Nrsimho hridaye Nrsimho. Bahe Nrsimho hridaye Nrsimho. Nrsimhadeva saranam prapade. Nrsimhadeva saranam prapade. Tava karakamala-vare naka adbhuta shinga. Dalita hinaya kasipu tano vinga. Keshavadrita narhari rupa. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Jaya Jagadisa Hare. Tava Kara Kamalam. Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisa Hare Jaya Jagadisa Hare Jaya Jagadisa Hare Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisa Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Lakshmi Nrsimha Jaya Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad Bhakta Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Vigna Vinashaka Lakshmipati Narhari Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai. Bhakta Shiromani Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So we'd just like to announce that a talk show wasn't speculating when he said there may be a feast getting cooked. There was a feast getting cooked. So thanks everyone for coming along, despite the breakdown in communication that we didn't give out a notification. I think it got through the grapevine, hopefully not the sour grapevine. Just to let you know, there is a program on Sunday, which will be starting somewhere around 3 or 4. Probably around 3, because devotees like to chant a bit extra, so some devotees will start at that time. And there'll be quite a varied program with some more Abhishek. Gandaki won't be here, so we don't have anybody strong enough to lift that big Nrsimhadeva. But Nrsimha, big or small, is still Lord Nrsimhadeva. So we'd like to thank the devotees for addressing the deities very nicely. And the garlands, who made the garlands today? A few people. Yeah, it was very nice. Beautiful garlands, and Guru Parampara got a garland. It was interesting actually, just as we finished the Abhishek for Lord Nrsimhadev, we took him behind there and he was cleaned and dressed, etc. Just at that certain point, Jagannath Priya came with a garland at Rajavinodini, Vivi. That's easier, we'll just call it that. She actually, just at the very time Jagannath Priya walked through with the garland was the time when it was ready to offer. And we weren't expecting the garland, but that's when you would. So the Lord very nicely inspired her. And well, thanks to the devotees who made the nice vases, etc., cooked the feast and did all the nice arrangements. And so, yeah, we'd like to welcome everyone again on Sunday for a big festival. The public festival will be there. It will be a bit longer. There'll be some kirtan going on in here and various things going on in the hall. We also have a retreat this Sunday, 30 devotees from London coming up. So that will be quite stacked out. And some of those devotees are going to take part in the program as well. Some of the children will be doing a drama, etc. And so we'd just like to invite everyone to that. But right now, we'd like to invite you all to go and break the fast, unless you're actually waiting until dusk, which will be maybe another couple of hours. But it's always dusk somewhere in the world, so we'll leave it to you to decide when you're breaking your fast. And of course, we'd like to thank Srila Prabhupada for giving us this Hare Krishna movement and for giving us Lord Nrsimhadeva, where we can pray for protection personally and for this movement so it can expand nicely under the protection of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki, Iskon Guruvinda ki, Shri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Shri Shri Koinatai Mahaprasad ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.